He wore a pristine white coat by day, his calm voice soothing patients in Denver's top hospital. By night, that same coat became a mask, hiding the darkness inside. Who was this man? And why did so many women wake up on his couch, wondering what had happened? Stephen Matthews was 37, a respected cardiologist with a Harvard pedigree, and a home perched above the city lights. He had a habit of swiping through dating apps like any other single guy until he didn't. He wasn't looking for love, he was looking for prey. Emily thought she'd met a genuine catch. They met over messages, his quick humor, her easy laughter. When he invited her for dinner, the cherrywood door opened onto an elegant foyer scented faintly of lavender soap. Candlelight danced across marble floors as he offered her a glass of red wine. She remembered the warmth of his smile, and then nothing. "I don't remember walking to the couch," she'd later tell detectives. "One moment I was laughing at his joke. The next, I was waking up to the soft hum of his refrigerator." Her head throbbed. Her dress was twisted. He stood over her, pancake spatula in hand, as if life were perfectly normal. She forced herself to believe it was alcohol, until the nightmares started. Across town, Sarah had a similar story. A glass of white wine, a soft playlist, then blackness. She woke to the tick of a clock louder than her pulse, the air smelling faintly of bleach. Matthew's gentle voice said, "Are you okay?" But her instinct screamed, "Get out." They weren't alone. 10 more women, a dozen in total, whispered the same words in police interviews. "He slipped something into my drink. I felt paralyzed. I thought I was going crazy." One voice broke the silence. "He used his medical access to get the drugs. I was defenseless." Detectives found hidden compartments behind his medicine cabinet, traces of benzodiazepines on wine glasses, texts on his phone boasting, "They never see it coming." Photos of unconscious bodies framed for his private collection. In court, Matthews sat motionless, his gaze distant. Survivors filled the gallery. Nervous hands gripped each other. When Emily spoke, her voice cracked. "He stole my memories and my trust." Sarah followed. "I'm not his victim anymore. I'm his witness." The jury didn't hesitate. 158 years in prison. No parole, no mercy. And yet, the real verdict lies with us. How easily we blur the line between safety and danger. How we slip our guard when we see a title, doctor. How we ignore the whispering doubts in our minds. They say the devil wears many faces. Sometimes he wears a lab coat. Sometimes he offers wine in a beautiful home. Next time you hear, "The doctor will see you now," pause. Listen to that inner voice, that tiny alarm bell. Protect your story, protect your mind, because the only thing worse than forgetting what happened is never knowing he was the one who did it. She thought hitting unfriend would sever every last tie, but in that moment, she didn't realize she'd just signed her own death warrant. Fabiola Thomas was 39, with a laugh that filled rooms and a heart that never stopped caring. She lived in a quiet cul-de-sac just outside Atlanta, where neighbors waved and porch lights burned late into the evening. She worked at a children's nonprofit, volunteered on weekends, and believed in Second Chance 7 online. Antonio Wilson seemed too good to be true. He messaged her with compliments that felt genuine about her smile, her kindness, the way she lit up a room. Over days, their banter grew into late-night calls. He told her he was a graphic designer. She told him she loved jazz. When he asked to meet, she agreed. A small cafe, soft lighting, the hum of the city around them. They talked easily until a flicker of something darker crossed his gaze. Their whirlwind romance lasted only a few weeks, but in that time she noticed the small things. His questions about where she was going, the way his tone sharpened when she laughed with friends. Once, she showed him a photo of her niece at a birthday party. He didn't smile, he frowned, almost like he thought she'd stolen something from him. She felt her pulse tighten every time her phone buzzed. So, one evening, she ended it. No grand speech, no lady night pleas. She simply wrote, "I don't think this is working," and tapped unfriend. Then she blocked him because sometimes self-preservation means making hard choices. That decision should have protected her. It didn't. A week later, Fabiola's neighbor saw her front door ajar, her silver Honda still in the driveway. The sky was soft pink with sunset, but something felt off, too still, too quiet. He stepped inside the hallway and froze. The scent of jasmine hand soap mixed with something metallic. The dining room light flickered. He called her name. No answer. He found her in the bathroom, pale skin against cool porcelain, dark hair fanned across the tub. The water was stained pink, like spilled wine. Bruises bloomed on her arms, each one a silent scream. Her phone lay on the counter, one text visible, time-stamped just an hour before. "You can't get rid of me that easily." When police arrived, they traced the text back to Antonio. They found his car tire tracks in her lawn. Security cameras showed him circling the block, checking windows, watching. They found his fingerprints on the soap dish and his DNA on the faucet. In interrogation, he sat calm, almost bored. He claimed she'd invited him over, that she'd changed her mind. But Fabiola's friends and family painted a different picture. Her sister testified with tears in her voice. Fabiola was brave. She stood up for herself. She wouldn't stay silent when something felt wrong. But he turned that courage into her worst nightmare. The trial was swift. The evidence was brutal. He was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge said his cruelty was beyond measure, his entitlement a danger to every woman who dared to say no. But even as Antonio was led away in handcuffs, that didn't bring her back. It didn't erase the image of Fabiola's gentle smile, or restore the dreams she'd never get to chase. It didn't soothe the guilt her family carries for not seeing the warning signs sooner. This story isn't just about one horrific crime. It's a wake-up call. It's about the entitlement that festers when someone believes they own another person's heart. It's about the danger hidden behind a username, a profile picture, a few charming texts. And it's about the right we all have to walk away from what feels unsafe without fearing for our lives. So if you ever feel that chill when someone won't respect your boundaries, listen to it. Trust the knot in your stomach, because saying goodbye shouldn't be a death sentence. Never forget Fabiola Thomas. Never let her story be just another true crime headline. Share it. Talk about it. Protect yourself and the people you love by insisting that no means no every single time. He flew her to the Swiss Alps on a private jet, then vanished with her entire life savings before breakfast. Imagine swiping right and matching with a man who looks like he stepped out of a Vogue shoot. He's wearing a crisp suit, flashes a Rolex, and promises you a world you've only seen in movies. You meet him at the airport. He greets you with a kiss and a bouquet of roses so big you worry he's compensating for something. You laugh it off. You lean in. You think, this is it, the fairy tale. But here's the bitter twist. The man in the suit was Simon Lviv, born Shimon Hayut, and the fairy tale was one gigantic con. He called himself the Prince of Diamonds, heir to $1 billion fortune. He posted selfies beside private jets, on yachts, in 5-star hotel lobbies. Even his perfume had a price tag. He said he needed just a small loan to keep his enemies at by enemies he'd show you proof of if you asked. He'd send photos of his bodyguard bleeding in a back alley apartment, flash the headline on his phone, Lviv heir attacked in raid. Instantly, you're hooked. You feel needed. You feel special. Ever been on a date where you thought, this can't be real? That's exactly how Cecilie from Norway felt when Simon whisked her off to Bulgaria on day 2. She still remembers the hiss of champagne popping in that luxury suite, the way the city lights danced on his Rolex face. She thought, I've never felt more alive. But 3 days later, she was wiring him $15,000, then 30, then 60,000, all for security fees and emergency bail. Fees he never intended to pay back. He moved on before her bank called. He used her money to fund the next romance, the same script, different victim. He'd charm them, terrify them, drain them, and disappear like smoke. So, how did the fairy tale shatter? Cecilie had a warning bell in her gut. She compared notes with 2 other women on in London, one in Paris. They realized the private jet selfies were stock photos. The diamond mogul's blood splatter images were stolen from crime scene reports. Everything was a lie. They turned to the press. Netflix cameras rolled. Headlines exploded. The Tinder swindler. The world gasped as one after another, women shared screenshots of texts begging, "Please help me," and bank statements showing hundreds of thousands drained. He was arrested in Greece with a fake passport. Interpol dragged him back to Israel. But here's the real sting. He got just 15 months in jail and walked free after 5. 5 months to scheme, to flaunt, to rebuild that glittering persona for Instagram, where he now posts poolside photos with the caption, "Living the dream." How do you protect yourself when lies sparkle so brightly? Ask questions, check IDs, Google every detail. If someone's life looks too perfect, it probably is. Because scammers prey on our hunger for magic, the idea that, somewhere out there, a prince is waiting. But magic only lasts as long as the money holds out. Simon Leviev manipulated the one thing we all crave: trust. He turned romance into a high-stakes fraud game where the house always won, and the table was set on Tinder. So, next time you match with someone who seems too good to be true, remember Cecilie's warning. Do your homework before you let them into your world and into your bank account. Swipe with caution. Guard your heart and your wallet. Because in the age of online dating, not every love story ends with happily ever after. Sometimes it ends with an empty bank balance and a broken trust and a scammer in a designer suit counting your tears as his profit.
Like, subscribe, and comment.